episode of the Urban Uplander Podcast. I'm Melinda Benbow, one of your hosts, accompanied with my favorite person in the whole world and my co-host, my lovely husband, Dr. Kyle Benbow. Hi, Kyle. How are you?
Good, good. Been a good day, good Saturday. Jasper went to his first run club this morning. The club is called Big Dog Feet Fleet, and
It's a
they meet
mouthful.
up at 6 a.m. On Saturday mornings. And today was the first day. It was actually weather appropriate for him to go, and
Yeah.
he did great. So that was good to kind of get
So
that.
this isn't his first run club, just his first run with this club. Is this what you're
with
saying?
yeah, the first run club in Georgia. I should specify. So
Gotcha.
typically for on Saturdays I go by myself because again Georgia mornings are super duper hot and they're very humid, and running 6 miles with a puppy is a pretty harsh. It's pretty harsh on me, so I'm pretty pretty sure
On
it's
the
harsh on
kiddo.
him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But today it was like 71. We woke up this morning, so he did great. And like I
So we
said,
actually had your Georgia heat this morning, and you had our mornings because it was hot, hot here this morning.
yes, I heard the more stickiness and not to, I guess, spoil later, but I'm coming back to that tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
I'll leave one Georgia and go to another one. So,
Yeah, you'll be well adapted, because it's what you deal with all the time. But yeah, well, like you said, you're going to be back tomorrow. You finally get to meet the babies and
yes,
see Eunice, and she's had pups. So obviously, we are into another week with these kiddos,
yeah.
and they're just moving right along.
Yeah. So as always, I think we can start with the updates, just both for myself and for those who are following along. So what's been going on with the puppies? What changes are we seeing now that we can see them in the background? I notice there's some trying to walk a little bit. In the pictures, their eyes are starting to open. So yeah, what's
Yep.
been
I
going
mean,
on with the?
those are the main things, right? Eyes have now opened at about 14 days. We saw their little peepers start to open up. Um, I have a video of me clipping their nails, and you can see they're kind of just a little bit more aware, but definitely just little drunken potatoes at this stage. But no, eyes are open, weights are getting up there. I think on average they're between 3.5 to 2.5 pounds.
Okay.
So they're getting big. They're some chunky boys. And yeah, we've done their dewormer. Like I said, first nail trims. And so those are the big milestones so far.
Yeah, so I guess like since they're starting to move a little bit, are they starting to interact with one another a little more?
It's funny how they instantly just started interacting with each other. Yeah, as soon as their eyes opened, they instantly started mouthing each other and chomping on each other. I mean, it's pretty much gums right now. So, but yeah, they're starting to be a little bit more aware of each other and their surroundings, but not full play, just mainly kind of toddling around, climbing over each other and stuff like that.
Was there any adorable moments from this week or anything favorite that happened that you're like, oh, first time I've seen that?
So, Blue Puppy, he's our smallest puppy. He
Mm-hmm.
is just everything he does is adorable. I mean, everything they all do is so adorable, but him being the smallest puppy and he's hit, most of these milestones a little bit like I wouldn't say earlier, but he's kind of the first to hit these milestones. So
Mm-hmm.
first for his eyes to open, first to toddle around, so to fully get up on all four legs and start taking his first little steps. I do think that's partially because he is smaller. The other boys are so big that I'm like, can they even get up on their legs? And with their eyes opening, like so much wrinkle on their face compared to a skinny blue boy.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, so that's super cute to see. And then again, when I was doing the nail trim, I think it was Orange Puppy. I was holding him kind of like cradled and trimming his nails. And if you watch the video, you can see him like looking at his fingers and looking at my fingers like, whoa, I can see stuff now.
He's gaining sentience. He's like,
Yeah,
what's going on?
yeah.
I'm coming into the world. So yeah, you talked a little bit about deworming, and this goes into a lot of the health preparation. And you've had this built entire schedule, and you're doing a lot of testing and a lot of preventative care now. So maybe you can expand a little bit about all the things that we're doing from both the obviously the
Yeah.
vaccinations, the deworming, up until like the evaluations that you're planning on doing later as they get older.
Yeah. So first thing we did at 2 weeks is start our deworming. And deworming will happen at 2 weeks.
Mhm.
It's 2, 4, 6, 8. And then from there, I think it's at month and then at year. But most of what needs to be done is a 2, 4, 6, 8 because it's what I will be doing before they go home. At that point, once puppies go home, it'll be up to them, their buyers, and their veterinarians to make sure that they stay on a deworming and a preventative. But first thing we did was Pyrantel. So this is a deworming product that we did at 2 weeks. We'll do it again at 4 weeks. And then at 6 weeks, we're going to switch to the fenbendazole, which is the Panacure. And that's mainly because you can't use that until 6 weeks. Um, but it covers so much more parasite wise and worm wise. So we can do the Pyrantel now and start taking care of some of those parasites we may see and have some protection. And but then at 6 weeks we can switch to the fembendazole and kind
Okay.
of make sure that we're covering a wide range of things, including things like giardia.
Hmm.
Excuse me. So that's the deworming schedule will be on. The fembendazole will be here soon. So good thing about it is, one thing about mom in effort to keep her puppies clean and keep their whelping area clean, she eats their poop. And that's very normal. It's so cute, but super normal. But
No,
point
no,
being is
no,
I
no
also
kisses.
no, no, no kisses right now. And the main thing with that is also making sure she has her preventative and is being
Hmm.
dewormed too. So they're not just passing stuff back and forth, and she can also be protected.
Okay, okay. So a lot of the deworming, it sounds like very scheduled, very routine, but sounds
I
like
mean, yeah,
that's
it's like, like a lot of vaccinations where, these things
hmm
have to be boosted. You can only give so much at each time.
right.
And to ensure that it's working, keeping it on that schedule is important.
So, mistake me if I'm wrong. When do they get their first vaccinations? Is 2 rounds before they go home?
It'll be 2 rounds before they go home, dependent on when they have them and when they go home, essentially.
Okay.
So, we'll do vaccinations at about 6 weeks. At 5 weeks, they'll be going into my repro vet,
Yes.
Dr. Katie, and she'll do an evaluation on them, make sure they're all looking healthy, gaining weight. All their hearts are good. She'll just
Yeah.
do an overall exam on all the babes just to make sure that we have healthy puppies, which I believe we do, but it's super important to make sure you have a professional check that, which is also where like the at-home vaccinations, can be an issue. Is a lot of people don't go get their puppies examined first and make sure that they're healthy enough to move on to that. So we will be going to Dr. Katie. She'll be doing their exam, and then as long as she says everything looks good, we will be beginning at about 5.5, 6 weeks, our first
Okay.
rounds. And that's mainly, 5.5 is ideal, um, mainly because we run a pet care business from our home where we
Yes.
also have puppies. So the earlier and safe, the safe time frame, but as early as possible, we can get them started. It's just
Hmm.
going to be beneficial to them and the dogs that come over.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. So not too far. It's been so fast. It's already what 17, 18 days. About almost 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
17
Yeah.
Yeah, almost 3 weeks. 3 weeks
2.5.
on Wednesday. So we are almost there. They'll get their 17-day photos taken
Hmm.
tomorrow. I want to say, I think it's tomorrow. And those are the weekly photos that I post of them just to, show their growth progression and their pigment progression. So they'll
Yes.
have their next ones done tomorrow. And yeah.
Okay. Well, awesome. Awesome. And then I know there's two more tests that we've kind of talked about, and that was their hearing exam and I think there's structural evaluations, and I don't think the structural one is as like preventative care. I know that's more for the actual show side of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to describe again, why do we get both of these completed as you
Yeah.
kind of as part of the process?
So we'll be doing the structure evaluation will come first, so I'll cover that first just because of the
Yes.
timeline. It'll be the same week. We'll be headed to Bloomington to have a wonderful AKC judge put his hands on our puppies, which means to physically go over them, get a visual of them, and kind of help us understand who maybe our better structurally built dogs are. And that'll help me kind of understand which dogs I want to keep to move forward with showing, and which dogs I want to place in the show homes that we do have. So the structural evaluations will be first, and that'll be like mid-September, and then a couple days later, they'll have their hearing exams. We'll be going to the Fetch Lab at the University of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
They have a veterinary hearing lab there, so we'll be going. Oh, the kiddo moving around back there. Oh, there he is. Pop back up. So we'll be going there for their bear hearing exam. That is
Okay.
something that is part of our chick standard as our breed. So our parent club, the English Setter Association of America, requires ethical breeders to check their puppy's hearing to make sure there's no congenital deafness, which again, is something we do see in our breed. But again, fingers crossed that we do not have that, as we have
Yeah.
two parents that are chick to chick bred. So both of them have had their hearing exams, are hearing dogs, and don't have any issues there. So we're hoping puppies are the same situation, which also clues us into who we want to keep. You can start doing their hearing exams around 5 weeks old.
Hmm.
However, I wanted to wait because it seems like you get a little bit better and more accurate results once you know their ears are fully open and
Yeah.
they're completely developed in that area. And so yeah, that'll be that same week. A couple days later, fingers crossed that I can also visit with the sire of the litter. He's
Yeah.
only about 30 minutes from there. So
Okay.
this goes in line with structure evaluation too, is not only could he have the opportunity to meet his boys, but his owners are also really prevalent in the breed and are AKC judges who
Right.
can go over the puppies and, either agree with the information we got at our first structural evaluation. Or
Hmm.
maybe they say, hey, you know what, we as people in the breed feel differently. So we'll
Yeah.
have another structural evaluation there. And I'm hoping, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would also like Eunice's breeder to go over the puppies too,
Yeah.
because I think three is the magic number to really say, okay, all three of these people are saying the same thing, or two of these people are saying the same thing, and I could still consider what the third person is saying. So, but yeah, those are the last things. Like you said, the structural part is really more or less so I understand show wise who we want to move forward with. Um, but that hearing is definitely something we absolutely need to do for the puppies.
Talked about our health stuff and the structural evaluation and some of the things we're going to be doing on that side. I think the other side of that is just like the registration stuff. So again, these dogs will be registered through AKC as be part of our breeding program, but also individualized out to the or to the puppy buyers once they have their puppies, and we'll also be doing their initial microchipping as well. So, kind of describe because there's a little bit of a difference with the breeder microchipping than the typical owner microchipping. I think you told me a little bit, at least as far as like we are a breeder is still going to be tied. So just in case something happens to the dog, they can talk to us as well. And then as well as like what registrations in terms of organizational ones that we plan on
Yeah.
doing with the puppies.
So microchip first. We're going to be using AKC Reunite. And that is microchips that AKC makes. Now, I don't know how much different it is than, other, like, I know when we got our dogs, they didn't come microchips. So we had our vet go ahead and place those in. And I think those were Home Again is the normal one that vets use, which there's nothing wrong with Home Again. But
Mm-hmm.
as breeders getting to do the AKC microchips ourselves, we get to add ourselves as a, pretty much like a permanent owner on there, right? So even though we no longer personally own this dog, we get to be on there as a breeder. So let's say, fortunately, we vetted our puppy buyers really well, but the worst come to worst happens and a puppy gets lost or dumped or ends up in a shelter, they will still have our contact information to let
Okay.
us know. So I mean that even goes like, let's say puppy gets lost and the owner's on vacation, and this is just something that happened with whoever's watching the dog, and they can't get a hold of the owner, they can still contact us. So multiple reasons as to why we want to continually be on there. Microchips aren't like tracking devices, so it's not like we're going to be just tracking these dogs, but if the worst situation should happen, we can be somebody that they contact in regards to these dogs, as we are responsible for them the entirety of their lives. So those are the microchips we'll use, and we'll do those when we do our first round of vaccinations.
Okay.
Um, Fortunately, AKC does 5 counts of microchips, so we'll get the 5 count since we have 5 boys, and we will put those in when we do their vaccinations. And at that same point, we'll do their next round of dewormer.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't say anything. So, as
No, no,
far
no.
as with the you said the AKC microtrips will be coming, and I guess you could describe a little bit of like what the AKC provides as far as the registration for the puppies and stuff like that, because that name is probably going to
Yeah.
show up a lot in these conversations,
Yeah.
and some people may not be familiar with that. So, if you were
Yeah.
to turn to them as an organization and what they provide as far as registration and kennel
Yeah.
upkeep and stuff like that.
Well, so main thing is once the puppies were born, we were able to hop onto the AKC and register the litter.
Okay.
Being that both parents are registered with the American Kennel Club, that allows us to let them know, hey, both of these registered dogs have now had puppies, and we are going to be asking their parents to also register. So they send us all the information that we need to give to our puppy buyers. There's a couple different ways to do it. You can do it like prepaid to where like your puppy buyers just kind of need to fill it out. Being that it's our first time, I just had them sent and we'll just walk through it with our puppy buyers. But I do actually have them here. They just got here. So every puppy buyer will get a folder like this. And in this folder, first thing we have is this Pro Plan book. This has where I can add all of their vaccination informations. This will be used for, when they go to their vet. Can you hear the puppies? Somebody's being bossy over there. So that's what this is for. Also, in here, it's a little folder. So there's different promos, coupons, and stuff like that for puppy buyers. And then they also send us this bag, which allows us to put a sample of the dog food that they're currently on.
Mm-hmm.
So we can send that home with them as well. So that's the first thing that will be in there. Before I get to the registration, next thing that will be in there is our puppy tracking form. So we do our weekly weigh-ins on here, when the eyes open, when we do the microchip, temperament testing, bear hearing, all that stuff, first car ride, and then it's open space for other, big milestones that we do want to record for our puppy buyers. I also like it because it has the little chart where you can put their markings on. However, still don't know their markings. So I can't really fill that in as of now. But the next thing, which is what we were originally talking about, is the AKC information.
Yes.
So first thing AKC sent me for each puppy person was a little bit more about how to register your dogs.
Okay.
And then on the front side, it has their litter certificate. This
Okay.
is their 3-generation pedigree. So starts with mom and dad, goes to grandparents and great grandparents. So that goes home with the puppies. And then their there shouldn't be any pertinent
That.
information on
Oh.
here, but then their registration sheet is here. So this is something that I will fill out with them. We'll go over their registration name, which will have our kennel name in it,
Mm-hmm.
which is Urban Uplander, and then they'll kind of get to decide what that is from there. We'll add their
Okay.
microchip information, and then pretty much what will happen is our puppy buyers will take this, they can go onto the website and fill it out and pay on there, or they can send this into the AKC, and that's how they're going to register their dog. And this is what's going to allow them to do all the fun dog sports that we get to do through AKC, including showing. So that will be sent out. A couple other random registration pieces there is AKC isn't the only registry that we do stuff through with our dogs.
Mm-hmm.
We also do North American Versatile Hunting Dog Sports, and it's actually a registry of its own. So I'll also be registering puppies through there, so that way puppies can do their natural ability tests. Which are the NA tests, and we'll be doing those for the puppies before 16 months of age. So we'll do that. And then the other thing, register wise, that I started was futurity registration, which is essentially breeders have the opportunity that when we see our puppies at this young age, up until 2 months, we can look at them, especially with the pairing of parents, and knowing where the puppies are at. We can say, hey, we think these are going to be really awesome puppies. Let's go ahead and sign them up for a specialty show at our national specialty for next year. So we get to kind of do a class of its own and show off our puppies. And then we get to come back 2 years after that for maturity and show how those puppies have developed from futurity. So a couple different registration things, but the AKC one is the main.
It sounds like there's still things to do. Time is going, but we're doing a good job as far as keeping on the schedule. As we move into August and move into kind of get into September, we're been in communication with our puppy buyers, so I think that's kind of neat now. And I think we're kind of hitting the next stretch where we're going to learn more about, I guess, like the behavioral and temperament aspects of the dogs.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the fun part. The medical stuff is, the necessary stuff to ensure we have healthy pups. But I can't say it's the fun part. I think the behavior stuff is what I'm most excited about. I say it every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're moving well that into that direction. There'll be 3 weeks this week. I don't know if you can tell in the whelping area behind me, but we've
Hmm.
already made it a little bit bigger so they can have more space to stretch their legs. Orange puppy is having a tantrum right now.
Yeah.
So we've already stretched out their area. Um, He's really pissed right
The
now.
screaming.
I know Eunice is looking at him like, "Get over here! If you want to come over here." He's just. This is also them, I think, figuring out like they're at the point now where they're starting to like use the bathroom on their own.
Yeah.
And I think that like, it comes with like a little bit of discomfort and it's very new to them. But yeah, so we've started opening, we've made their whelping area bigger so they can start having more area to toddle around. We will also be expanding it again at about 4 weeks because between 3 and 4 weeks we're going to really see them become way more aware, playing more, engaging more, moving around more, so we can really expand that space, add a few appropriate different textures, playthings, stuff like that. So yeah, we're moving in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess before we send off, like I said, I'm hoping that we're home next week and we'll have maybe a different setup for us to shoot this, so we don't have to be in separate rooms. We
I'm
can be,
hoping I'm hoping next week we can do it right from the whelping box. We can
yeah, yeah.
sit down and really, again, I think by the next time we shoot this, they'll be almost 4 weeks old. So
Hmm.
we can
Hmm.
sit down and get to see, get to be together for
Yeah,
one, and then for two, get to be with the puppies together. So I think that would be fun.
yeah, yeah. What's one thing you're excited for before the next episode? It's something that you're hoping to see or do this week with the puppies.
Hmm. I just, I don't know if you can see it right now, but oh, he sat back down. But they're standing up and they're moving
Yeah.
and they're just, I'm finally excited to see them really get out of drunk potato face, right? And start actually being a little bit more aware of their bodies and aware of
Yeah.
me, and also to start seeing their colors a bit more. We are seeing pigment finally. And I do think I have an idea of what colors each puppy may be.
Hmm.
However, it's still like such a toss up. So, maybe it'd be exciting to see some more um, definitive colors coming through so I can have an idea of who's what. Right now, I think orange, green, and purple are going to be orange Belton.
Okay.
I know red puppy is going to be blue because again he's been super blue since the day he came out with his blue little patch, and he gets the
Yes.
most pigment. I think every time I look at him, he has a new speckle. And then our blue puppy, I think maybe he's going to be a try. I
Hmm.
see some of his orange pigment coming in on his face and his nose darkening, and I see a really big dark patch inside his ear.
Hmm.
So I think he's a try. But again, the fun part about talking about all this stuff with you and just sharing it with our puppy buyers, our clients, and just the general public is that this is my first time. A lot of this, I wouldn't say I'm rolling the dice on all of it. I'm definitely, prepared and have
Yes.
done as much learning as possible around each of these things. But I'm now getting to apply that knowledge for the first time. So, it's definitely different in the application process.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm not um, sharing this information because we are some kind of gurus or
Yeah.
authorities on some of these subjects. But it is neat to show what this is like the first time around, and to get to compare and contrast it our next time around, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are we going to do that's the same, or what things do we think we're going to change in this process? She's
Mhm.
redecorating the area right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think that's neat. Again, part of the reason we kind of do the podcast was to capture some of these real time experiences, and to be able to reflect and be able to look back. So whenever the next season of these start, whether it's a next pregnancy and stuff like that, we can look at and say, okay, this is what we talked about then, and what we learned from that to take to this moment. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be to meet, and again, it's a learning experience, it's a fun experience, it's a goal building experience, and like I said, we're 17 days in, 4 podcasts deep, so we're doing pretty good.
I think so. And and I think that's the other benefit of these podcasts is a lot of puppyhood is the waiting game of
Mhm.
waiting to see who they're going to be, their colors, their sizes. And so it's neat to have these little moments through there to get to talk more about it and reflect on it and stay, not that I'm not excited, but just that continual reignitement of excitement, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, I think that will do it for this week's
Absolutely.
episode. Again, we are going to be switching up next week. I will be there with you. We'll see how we do this. Again, everything we do is touch and go and learn as we go.
My vote is Urban Uplander from the Whelping Box. That is
Yeah,
my vote.
yeah.
I so tune in next week to see if I got
Yes.
my vote. Yeah. So I don't know why my internet, your internet, everything's going crazy. So we're gonna get off here really fast. Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode. Again, if you like what you're watching, please like, share, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all the places. And we will catch you next week.
Take care.